I think Luke is I guess you could say the good choice for a leader that everybody's like, okay, we can look to him. He can keep the girls. We can do this.
Mm-hmm.
Then when you go back inside and you talk to Jane again, that's what I was mentioning. I felt like she was sowing dissent between you and Kenny. She was trying to make you feel uncomfortable with him, and I didn't like that.
I think she was trying to look out for Clementine's best interests, and I think she just saw a pattern in Kenny that she probably has seen before, and therefore to keep Clementine safe, and this is going to be the theme at the ending, to keep Clementine safe, she needed to do what she could to convince her to come with her, because she wanted to leave the group, and she wanted Clementine to come with.
She cannot have any more kissy time with anyone. I'm not going to let that go.
Anyone? I mean, there's plenty of boys and girls out there.
It was Luke that she chose, and she was so desperate she needed to do it only with Luke and steal him away from Angel
Luke
Arts.
has that effect on people, apparently.
Yeah. Yeah, apparently it's worked on 2 people.
So let's
Hark.
So let's go ahead, Logan.
I enjoyed the scene with the baby and Jane.
Oh, I did that too. Yeah. You were like,
David didn't enjoy it that much.
David was like, I have to hold this baby again? Really? Really?
Here we go again. What's my supposed to do here? Here you go.
Nice.
I actually gave it a try. I was like, hey Jane, want to hold the baby? She was like, no, it looks tough. It's not rocket science. Hold him.
Jane.
So she's a short-haired, brown-haired woman who is not comfortable around babies.
Yes, a lot of similarities.
Very funny, David.
A lot of similarities there.
But no, I just thought because it was like I wasn't used to seeing that side of her when she gets. Would the correct adjective be flustered?
Yes, out of her element. Yes.
Yeah. Hi there, little guy. I think he's gonna throw up.
Yeah.
It was just fun.
He just.
I love that.
It was just a fun little moment to share it again, to see that other side of her.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I think, what was it for David? I think you chose the option of just silence and just letting her talk. Like, I think it was either Hark, because I love how he does snarky Clem, but yeah, you like snarky Clem. And then there's David, who just chooses silence for an option because it makes the story look better.
Yeah. Sometimes silence is better. I think we mentioned that several times before, everyone here. So
yeah, and I agree with that. In fact, Angel's already heard, but I found myself doing the actual picking the silence or just choosing to say nothing in this episode the first time, a couple more times.
Angel Lodge's snarky Clem thing is rubbing on you. Don't let it, Logan. Don't let it fall to the dark side.
Oh, shush.
So
I want to be able to have that amount of depth as Angel Arts does in his Let's Plays.
Oh.
Be all right with that.
Let's. I want to talk about the discussion about Wellington versus where else they should go if not Wellington.
When they get the truck starting to work,
When they get
right?
the truck started, there's that confrontation there's dissension amongst the group.
Yeah.
Your thoughts on that scene?
I'm like, I really like you, Jane. I really like you, Mike, but I really want to go to Wellington, so I'm really conflicted.
The reason because of Krista, or the reason was something else? For
Krista.
Krista was the main reason. Okay.
Yeah.
I saw it as we've already gone so far north. It would probably be like if we say like this is where we want to go, and this is where we want to go, and this is where Wellington was. We've already like at least 3/4 of the way. I was thinking we were like maybe 3/4 of the way. It would be quicker just to finish and go to Wellington instead of going all the way back to everything we just went through again. Like it just seemed like as far as like length and being on the road.
Yeah.
Well, remember you've been going on foot. You didn't have a car, and I think Jane later on says going back to Carver Town would have taken a day as opposed to several days to get to Wellington by car. But
yeah. Right. I guess I was a little conflicted because I was like, I agree with the group. I mean, we need that baby formula. I mean, that baby's only got like 1 day food left, But we all got food for about 1 week. But I want to really see Wellington, and I want to see Krista.
It's
I want
not
to see if it's out there. I'm like, what am I gonna do? There's so many decisions. It's a conflict. It's like I'm having a battle with myself. It's like every single one, like Mike, Bonnie, Kenny, Jane, heck, even Arvo, who's tied up. They were all my like little constants just battling each other. I was like, what am I gonna do?
Oh, so you had a conflict in a Walking Dead game?
Okay. Don't rub in that. Don't rub it in, buddy. Don't rub it in. But I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna choose the middle path. Why don't we just go tomorrow? We'll think about it tomorrow. I was like, no, we gotta go now. We gotta go now. I was like, ugh.
I think that's what I've been doing with a lot of whenever there was a conflict, as I realized.
You went with the middle path?
Yeah, and I realize it's not always the best thing to do because I hate choosing sides, because I hate trying to feel as if there's a right or a wrong between people, because there isn't in most cases in this game. And so pretty much in every conflict now, I would always pick the option that would just sort of calm the conflict but never actually resolve it.
I'm actually gonna disagree with Logan on that, just by a little bit.
No, I'm not saying that's the right thing. I'm saying that's what I did.
No. I mean, like, you said there's not always right and wrong in a decision. I'm thinking, well, there's always probably some wrong decision. Like, all right, everybody, we can stay here and be safe for a while, or we can go out there and risk our necks and try to find a better place. I was like, well, there's like 100 zombies out there right now. You want to go out there and risk our necks now? You're insane. There's always a wrong in that kind of decision.
I don't think in that specific situation that is that cut and dry. I think that can be argued one direction or another.
Yeah.
And still be valid. Go ahead, Kathleen.
I feel like the decision doesn't matter either way for 2 reasons. First of all, a lot of the decisions that we make end up in the same place. So, and I hate that affects my decisions, but like, I feel like it doesn't really matter where we go. And the other reason is when it happened, when everyone was arguing about where to go, I just wanted everyone to shut up because I hate arguing. So just like, everyone shut up. I don't care where we go.
Don't talk.
So,
you can look at each other, but don't talk.
So that's how I felt. I was like, I just don't even care where we go. I just want everyone to shut up. Whatever place will make the most people happy, let's just go there.
It's like Jane being in the middle of that truck right now, like where Clementine would be when we get to it later, and then it's me and Kathleen in the front of the truck, and we're just looking at each other like, yeah, yeah, just like that. She's mine.
I'm just pulling away from that statement that Kathleen is just playing a Telltale games and just wanting everybody to shut up.
Yeah.
She's not going to be for a good time.
Everyone shut up. Stop arguing.
I actually felt the same way as Kathleen. I didn't care, and I just wanted everybody to shut up for a different reason, because I was still, and I think as Clementine, we both were still mourning Luke. We were still mourning. I was still numb from what happened to Luke, and I was still...
His body is not cold yet.
Yeah, at that point, I was like, Wellington or going back, I don't care. Luke's not here anymore. He's not going to be at either place. I'm tired. Yes. People are dying, and the one person that I was really close to is not here. It doesn't matter where we go. And so a lot of me was very indifferent during that time. But yeah, there even was a point, and I even said this out loud. I was like, I don't even know if I want to continue playing the game anymore because I'm so depressed and so sad. Like, I don't know if I want to play, but I had to keep going.
Hark.
So
the story must go on, Hark.
Yeah.
It's a Romeo and Juliet with you and him.
Yeah. So before we continue on to the next item in the story, since we were talking about Wellington, is anyone upset that we never learn what happened to Krista in this episode? Does that bother anyone?
Nope.
No, Logan, put your hand down. Me first.
Go ahead.
I was infuriated that we didn't get to find out what happened to Krista. I was like, is Krista here? Oh wait, we'll talk about that later.
Yeah.
But I was infuriated that we learned nothing about Krista. Mm-hmm. We find Wellington, and then it's like, oh, so it's just me and Kenny of the entire original group here. Nobody else. Oh, so maybe Krista is probably dead for all I know. Maybe it made me want to throw like a troll rage tantrum. Like Logan, you wanted to say something?
Anyone else?
Well, on my playthrough, Are you able to see Wellington?
Yeah.
You can.
I didn't.
Yes.
I did not.
Okay.
More on that later, because I will say that is something I love about this episode is the many the very big contrast and endings you can get.
Yeah, there are 5 endings at the end.
Which I love that they did that. But moving on, in mine I didn't see it, but as far as like learning about Krista, since I'm glad to at least see it's a universal.
No matter what, you don't learn what happened to Krista.
Because I would have been really mad if you guys got to see it and I didn't. I was like, eh. But no, it just because I hate not having that sense of resolution, and to say, okay, what happened to her, and I was thinking that would be, but I'm not fully mad because I know they're making a 3rd season,
right.
So it's not like there's always another chance too. But if they end the season, they end the entire series without ever addressing that, then I'll be mad at them.
Yeah.
I'm kind of the opposite because I really like it when it's open-ended. It makes you wonder a bit, and it seems a bit realistic as well. That sometimes you don't find people again.
Yeah.
You're just gone. So I didn't really have any problem with it. Then again, I would expect it to be brought up in season 3. Mm-hmm. So.
Kathleen?
Yeah. I believe she's going to come back in season 3.
I'm not debating that.
I like that they occasionally brought it up. Like, I remember, I don't know if it was last episode, but Clementine said that she didn't want to see something happen to a baby again. I think she said something like that.
Yeah.
And it was just like that little evidence that she's been holding on to something, like kind of a traumatic experience that she hasn't been able to talk about.
Yeah.
That's kind of made me more intrigued about, what happened during that time. And also, it made me understand kind of why she kind of cares about protecting this child and, about her emotions going through this whole thing.
Yeah.
So, I kind of thought it added a little layer of depth to it. I think that's a general rule that writers should stick to is just to, show things instead of telling them. So I think they kind of showed that something happened during that time without, really outwardly stating it. And I think it'll come back into the drama of, season 3.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I'm not going to even debate with Kathleen if Krista is going to probably be in season 3 because I already know my gut is telling me that. And the last time I debated against her with the Kenny thing, we got that wrong, and I know she's still holding that on me.
I think that as a whole, what season 2 did really well is they were very good about name dropping from season 1, and that includes not only Krista but Lee, obviously. And we're going to get into that more later in this episode, as well as Katja and Duck. I mean, Duck was mentioned several times in earlier episodes as well as this episode, and Katja too, if you chose that selection. And so I kind of like that they try to make references as much as they can when it makes sense to season 1 characters.
Yeah.
So. Okay.
And then everybody walks away. I don't know if anybody got a clue at this, but I felt like Mike and Bonnie were already giving this key look, okay, we're gonna have to do this. I was like, what was with that look? Hey, go talk to Kenny for our sakes. I was like, okay.
Mike definitely seemed to be very sympathetic towards Arvo and seemed to be the one that was talking to Arvo a lot, and. That's what I think leads us towards what happens next, where Clementine wakes up in the middle of the night. She goes outside.
Was that just coincidental that thing was banging on the window?
I think it was coincidental that it happened to wake her up. Yeah, so she goes outside and she sees people, as David would put it, it's the traitor and the black guy.
I was gonna say, Dave, what was your? I didn't see your.
No one,
What was your?
Go ahead.
I was going to say, I didn't see your Let's Play all the way yet, Dave. What was your reaction when you saw the two of them now conspiring to leave everything?
Oh, it was a good reaction. Go ahead, Dave.
I was pretty much shocked. I couldn't...
He was like, who is that?
I couldn't understand why, but, I mean, Mike was such a good guy. And I'm guessing because he was such a good guy, that's because why he did this. But
yeah.
Still, and watching Bonnie come in as well? I mean, seriously?
He got all
What just
heartbroken,
happened?
emotional.
Yeah.
At that point, I was just and what was it? It wasn't. I'm trying to think what it was. It wasn't that. I'm trying to think it was. I think it was after you got. Or what after? I'm trying to think. I don't want to say before we actually reach that point chronologically talking about it. Was after what happens. It was the fact that she was saying just leave her and go.
Mm-hmm.
That to me was like she is no better. Like she's always been this. Like some part made it seem like maybe that never left her. That self-serving, just save your own skin at all times personality of her.
And she only says that if you covered Luke, not if you tried to go after Luke. She's a lot more upset when you get shot.
That was a really big
huge diversion. Yes.
Because it's almost like I don't know. Because like even the choice of covering him or going to save him, it seems like it's the exact. Is it literally just that psychological? She listened to me or she didn't listen to me that just drives her entire personality throughout the rest of the episode.
It's a valid point.
Seems a bit shallow, but okay. But and also I guess it doesn't help that she was my least favorite character in Origin Days.
Mm-hmm.
Like I did not like her at all.
Well, that's nice to say.
I think that the reasoning behind what Bonnie and Mike did is that they were just legitimately scared. They were afraid of Kenny. They thought that Kenny was a walking time bomb. I guess they saw Kenny like they saw Carver, and they needed to get out. And I think the only reason they didn't mention anything to Clementine is because, they know that Clementine has had history with Kenny, and I don't think they would have expected her to understand or go with them anyway. And and plus, I don't know if they wanted her to have to make that choice. Like, did they really want her to have her make the decision to choose between leaving Kenny behind and going or staying with them? So they just decided on their own to take the truck. And as I said in my video, to Kenny's credit, it's that truck is rightfully Kenny's at this point, since he was the one who got it started.
He fixed
so it was stealing. It was stealing for them. I would have been far less upset if they just decided to leave on foot and just let us keep the truck, because again, that truck rightfully belongs to Kenny. So.
And plus, like, they took a bunch of supplies too, right?
They were taking everything.
So they're making it really hard. They're making it really hard for Clem to survive.
Yeah.
Like taking all that stuff and leaving her without transportation. Like.
Yeah.
And but this was a major decision. I don't know how it was, but it was called loyalty asked to leave with Mike. 94% didn't want to leave with Mike, obviously, and 6% chose to leave with Mike. And I'm thinking, maybe it was David in that minority again when with the baby incident.
Actually, I think that was pretty clear cut because
it was too easy.
I mean, either you like Kenny or you like Jane,
right?
And you're leaving both of those behind if you want to go with Mike.
Yeah.
If Jane was in the other group, then it would have been much more even. But now you're leaving the two likable guys, likable, quote unquote. So, yeah.
If Luke,
but
go ahead.
I think that was just such an easy decision. I mean, you felt like I feel like people were driven by the history. They've known Kenny for so long that they just wanted to throw the people that, these are the supporting characters, we're just going to throw them on the side and see if fans want to leave with them over sticking with the characters you've known the longest.
Yeah.
If Luke had still been alive and he went up to Clementine and was telling her, hey, Bonnie and Mike are thinking about leaving and I kind of want to leave too, and I had to choose between going with them, including Luke, versus staying with Kenny and Jane, for me that would have been a really tough decision.
Oh, I thought you were going to be like,
choice.
I thought you would have been like, I need to go with Luke, obviously.
I don't think I would have gone to that decision that quickly. I think ultimately I would have still gone with Luke, but I think it would still have been a hard decision for me.
That's respectable.
So, go ahead.
I just still questioned why they were very sympathetic to Arvo, and they just like, you know what, we'll trust him, let's bring him along, and let's just hand him a gun. That just really threw me off the most.
Well, actually...
All right, here we go.
Go ahead, David.
Here we go again. I mean,
let's listen to the correct answer.
Yeah, this is the correct answer. Here you go.
My look.
he's been treated so poorly, and I see Mike as throughout the whole season as a person with lots of empathy.
Yeah.
Towards Clementine, towards other people, and he's seeing this guy getting knocked over again and again. He knows that he's been through a lot, and he can't take it anymore. That's it. I'm done. And
he wanted to give him a break.
Yeah. So here, have this gun. We're gonna get out of here. Start something new.
Yeah.
And so there you go. That's the correct answer.
Okay, so you say.
No. It's okay.
Ultimate.
That's what I think.
Ultimate. Go ahead, Harrison.
I was going to ask, what did you guys choose? There was the option to give Mike the gun or threaten him. I don't know what Logan or Kathleen's choice was, but I definitely threatened Mike because I felt like he betrayed me. He betrayed my trust. You were going to take everything from me, and you're going to also take the truck. I felt by right that was Kenny's regardless. I was like, at least leave me some. If you left me some, I wouldn't be so eager to shoot you.
I do my gun and like shoot.
Kathleen, go ahead.
I didn't. I don't know. I was of course angry at them for all of that, and of course, wanted to stay with Kenny and Jane. But I actually gave them the gun because I was thinking about the situation. I was like, okay, so here's like 3 adults that and one of them has a gun, and one of them just seems like really kind of emotional or kind of panicked. So I felt like, okay, the best thing to do is to alleviate that panic by giving him the gun.
Diffuse the situation.
Because diffuse the situation. Even though I disagreed with them, I was like, okay, they're not gonna think that Clementine's a threat if she doesn't have a gun.
Yeah.
So I thought that was the best thing to do. I guess it wasn't, but.
She pretty much did what I did as well. I'm saying she basically said what I was gonna say as far as what I.
She stole your words.
Well, she probably said them better than how I was gonna say them. So thank you, Kathleen.
I wish I thought of that. That was really smart.
Yeah.
But either way.
I remember, David. I think you definitely threatened him. I know you did.
I was too emotional. I didn't think straight. I was like, what this isn't happening.
Yeah.
This can't be happening. I'll shoot you.
I ended up doing either. I don't even think I even got those choices because I ended up yelling out to Jane and Kenny. I says, "Jane, Kenny, they're stealing the truck," and then
they shot you.
And then I got shot, and
that was hard to believe. I was freaking out like a little girl.
So I think in all of the 2 seasons, that is the first time Clementine has actually ever been shot.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
And I think it was if I had to give it a shot, a view, it was somewhere around
very close to the heart.
Very close.
But it
if
went
it had been maybe a couple inches down right here, it would have definitely killed her.
So
but
Arvo was
hit her on the shoulder.
Arvo is the one who shoots her ultimately. Yes.
And I was say that's when I knew Arvo was not that's when I was just immediately I had no sympathy for him anymore because he could have shot her in the leg, in the the hip or something. No, he was aiming for the heart, or at least he shot around the heart. He was not wanting her to survive that.
And that, you know what, Logan, I would give you a big hug for that, for saying no sympathy towards him, because I was furious. I was like, oh, Arvo, you are dead. I won't forget that. I won't forget that. If I find you again, I will put you out of your misery. I will kill you, little boy. I was furious. And I'm pretty sure a lot of other fans were furious when that happened, too. We're like, hey, we show you sympathy, and we really care about you. We don't want you to get hurt, but then you're going to turn around and shoot me? Yeah, you're a bag of dicks.
Well, I know, I'm trying to think. I know Mike, as well, at least, is also rather taken aback by Arvo's actions.
Yeah.
Because I believe he does that. Mike acts incredibly surprised, why did you do that?
Yeah. Yeah.
I think it's just Arvo. For Arvo, this group he's with, they're like nobody. Perhaps Mike, who helped him.
Yeah.
But the rest have only. I mean, he saw Clementine shoot his sister, so he doesn't really have any sympathy there either.
Yeah.
But she's a walker.
Now suddenly, she is.
She was.
She's stopping him from getting away, and he doesn't want to get beat. He doesn't want to die.
Yeah.
So he does what he thinks is right, even shooting a little girl.
Yeah.
That's stupid, but. Yeah.
I admit at that moment I was very confused because all this time I didn't think that I besides shooting his Walker sister, I thought that I was pretty darn nice to Arvo, or at least
Yeah.
like
You were.
I was pretty darn nice to him, and so I thought I didn't think that he would be so upset that he would shoot me, but apparently he did. So I guess I was more confused about Arvo shooting me
Like
than
a
angry.
shock.
Oh, don't get me wrong. I was upset. I was.
Oh
I was
yeah,
pissed.
you were flaming. Not as hard as me though. I was the big flamer.
How about you, Kathleen? Did you also hate Arvo for what he did?
It's funny because it happened so fast. I thought it was Mike that did it until you guys said it was Arvo.
Oh, gotcha.
Really?
Really?
No, it happened so fast,
yeah.
also it was my first Twitch stream too. So I was like dealing with all these technical issues. So I was trying to like make sure I was recording and stuff.
Cool.
Yeah, that's fine.
So what's been running through your mind this entire time up until these past couple minutes learning it was Arvo?
Well, either way, like I know that they were all kind of yelling at each other afterwards, and I just assumed that Mike just kind of shot her out of like freaking out, but then I'm like, oh, okay, Arvo shot her because he was freaking out. So, maybe I just forgot. I don't know. But yeah, like I just I just thought it was like a spur of the moment kind of reaction, and it was stupid, and I of course am mad, and I feel like I don't know, could Arvo really be that heartless, or is he just like being stupid? Like I don't know, like how could you live with yourself knowing that you shot a little girl?
I think he was acting out like on I'm gonna coin this term too, a Nick emotion. Like Nick shot first and then he regretted it later.
Yeah.
Sort of thing. I don't know, the look in his eye, like the expression he had when it clipped back to him, it did not show like, what's the phrase? It did not show like he was rethinking what he did. It showed like he was pretty confident in what he just did.
Oh God.
Yeah, it did.
So I think he was intending. I don't think he was regretting that.
Yeah.
Which is sad.
I'll have to watch that scene again then.
Yeah, and it's sad because I was very sympathetic towards Arvo this entire time, and I was thinking, okay, stop beating on him. He doesn't deserve this. And then he goes and shoots me, and I'm like,
now you have no empathy towards him. You want to kill him, don't you? Just say it, and I'll forgive you still. Huh?
No,
just
I don't want to kill him.
I don't want to kill him.
I want to kill him.
I feel sorry for him because of what the world has turned him into.
Yeah.
Has made him.
Oh, I'm gonna be like Kenny.
Because he is not the type of person. I think deep down he is not the person that would
normally
do that.
Yeah.
I mean, anger and self-preservation can make you do really horrible things, I think.
I thought he was just driven by his emotions, and he was just.
Oh yeah,
he was probably.
Totally.
He shot because his emotions were like bottling up. And he's like, you know what? Boom. Oh.
Yeah.
No, but he wasn't like that. He was
just so desperate to get away from Kenny. I mean, ultimately, it wasn't really against Clementine. He just really wanted to get away from Kenny.
Well, you could also say that he wanted to get his so-called revenge on Clem for shooting Natasha.
But I think even more so, he wanted to get away from Kenny.
Yeah.
Even more than that. So.
Yeah. Yeah, and then Kenny rushes out and like, "What the hell you do?" That was me. Like that would have been my reaction. What did you do?
And then when
she passes out.
When the screen turned black, I originally thought, oh my gosh, if they flash the these are what the other choices, this is what the other people chose. I was like, oh my gosh, seriously? But no, it continued, and this scene. This
was the most surreal moment I've had in this entire
I had the biggest fangasm ever. I freaked out like a little girl, and I was screaming like a little girl, and I was going, yay, woo!
I was also the most confused.
Yeah, I was confused
as
too.
to exactly what was happening. What was I seeing? Was all of this a dream segment?
Yeah, I'm dying.
Yeah, I'm dying, but
so great.
But what's interesting is I think that's a conversation that you had, or it's similar to a conversation that you had in the first season, but it's through the perspective of Clementine.
Yes.
And that's what was really interesting.
Yes.
Because you originally had the conversation through Lee's perspective,
Correct.
and now you're having it through Clem's perspective. And I wonder if, like, going back, like, and playing the first season, how different you'll see it, like, now that you've played through Clem's eyes. But it was just so perfect on so many levels, and this is why this episode was so great, in my opinion, because they tied all these things in from the first season, and they tied in, like, how Lee's had this presence throughout this game, even though he hasn't really been in it. And it was just so perfect.
I don't know if you guys felt the same. I was telling Angel Arts about this, that I saw this parallel.
Spoiler warning, by the way, for not...
Spoiler warning for anyone who has ever... Once I say it, if anyone here has actually read it, they'll know exactly what I'm talking about. Spoilers
for Harry
anyone
Potter.
who's ever...
It's for
the
Harry
Potter franchise.
Yes, so spoiler, go ahead.
If
you've read all the books, you're fine. If you've read all the books, you're fine.
If you've seen all the movies, you're good.
Yeah, if you've seen the movies, go ahead.
This conversation drew so many parallels to me from when Harry spoke with Dumbledore right after when Avada Kedavra hit him.
Yeah.
It drew
it's like the same thing.
It's the same.
It was the exact same thing. Yeah, bullet, magic spell, same thing. But no, I just drew parallels of like, so I imagine it was in that state where we were in like that sort of limbo of between life and death right there, and having like that sort of almost flash before your eyes thing, but just speaking with someone that you cared about who died before you.
Yeah. And I think everybody goes through that. Like, that's why J.K. Rowling was trying to, I guess you could say, tie that in with real life and fictional, that when we almost die or we're in that state of we're limbo, we meet someone that we really cared about and we were very close to, and have a conversation. We could choose life or death again.
I ended up saying this during my Let's Play, but I was so confused with that scene that I originally thought, are they rebooting season 1? Like, is that what's going to happen? Did this all of this ended up just being a dream, and then season 3, we're going to pick up from there, and then but then part of was like, oh, but wait a minute, Doug's already died. Oh, but I can still save Omid. So I was like, maybe in season 3 I can save Omid. I can save all these people.
Is a second chance to have
I'll
Omid.
make sure I don't get kidnapped by the camp man. This is great. So that was what I originally thought.
The perfect plan.
I was just so...
We can save Lee.
Yeah, we can save Lee. Oh, God. Wouldn't that be like a whole cleanup? But no, it was like... I was all of a sudden I had that whole, like, grateful, like, is this all a dream sequence?
Yeah.
Like what came a big dream sequence to take us, and I thought that was gonna be where the episode ended, was in that scene with Lee, or something, or
Inception.
There were so many moments, like, and I think you watched like in a couple of my episodes, Hark. You saw me like, okay, well, let me get my review, and the game's not over. What? Yeah. And I thought it was just like that black. I was like, done. No, it's not over.
It's like Lord of the Rings.
Oh, come on. No, I felt really comforted, though, through that whole scene.
Yeah.
I felt safe.
Yeah.
And it was only until that scene that I realized the presence that Lee had.
Yeah.
Around, like, I felt, if Lee had been there in a lot of those scenes, I would have felt so much safer.
Yeah.
Just knowing that he was in that position.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that.
Alright, let's hear the correct answer.
Go ahead, David. Give us the correct answer.
So, okay, here goes. First of all, I don't think it's the same conversation word by word that they have.
It's not the same.
Yeah.
But
what just like Kathleen, I'm not making Lee's choices. I'm here with Lee talking to him, but I'm not making his choices. I'm making Clementine's choices.
Yeah.
And that's really cool. And that whole scene is so filled with foreshadowing. I think he's telling Clementine, like, part of growing up and becoming an adult is to do what you think is best for the people you care about, even if that means hurting someone else.
Yeah, that was really...
There's a lot of those things that you take. You draw parallels to Kenny and what the group is going through and is going to go through.
He just always seems to know what to say, when to say it.
Yeah, and that.
I made myself tear up because in that one point he asks, "What could I say to you to make you feel better?"
Oh.
I had Clem say, "Don't leave me."
Oh God.
Oh, me too.
And he says,
"You guys are big babies."
Because he says,
"Whatever, you're crying on the inside."
I felt so, and I knew, and I
Carson,
didn't.
I know. You're crying
But
on the
I think
inside.
on a spiritual level, he never did. I think he kept
No,
his
I suppose not.
promise, like to a certain level. I think
Yeah.
he did, 'cause-
For him to even appear in this season, he had to have
right,
kept his
his
promise
presence,
spiritually in some
his
sense.
presence definitely was shown and depicted in many ways throughout this whole season. There were two of my favorite things that Lee said during that conversation is, bad things happen to everyone, and it's hard to be yourself when they do. That was one that I really liked. And the second one I liked a lot, which a lot of people laugh at, is it's not like math. Sometimes there's just no right answer. And and he's exactly right. It's not like math. So
But wasn't he a history teacher, just for the
No,
record?
it's a metaphor. It's it's just,
yeah.
math is universally known as having concrete stuff.
I think
Okay.
one thing I really liked about Lee is that, especially like the way I played it, is that he kind of knew what to say to Clem and kind of the right way to say it. Because, like, especially when it comes to telling her difficult things.
Yeah.
And this is one of those instances where he had to break news to her that was really hard. And what's really interesting, like, I was having this conversation with my nephew, and he kind of, like, witnessed an argument happening between adult family members, and he was upset about that. And, like, I was like, yeah, I was trying to explain it to him, and it's really hard. It's really hard explaining these hard things to kids, because even though I was trying to, like, kind of dumb it down and make it like it wasn't a big situation, I said, hey, sometimes adults say things they don't mean. And he's like, no, they do, but when they say it in that tone, they mean it. Like, and I was amazed because, like, here's this 5-year-old kid, and he's so perceptive. He knows, like, if an adult says something in anger, when they mean it and when they don't mean it. Like when they're being joking and when they are being serious. And I was like,
tone and...
whoa, like, it's really hard. Like, even though I try to, be the best aunt I can to my nephew, it's like, sometimes you can't come up with the best answers for these situations.
Sometimes
and
you just can't hide those.
Yeah. And you can't hide things from kids because they're very perceptive, even very young kids,
Yeah, kids have this unique ability to, know, like, I guess you could say, read emotions.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're very impressionable, too.
Right.
Yeah, and I think that's where I can say that, first off, I still had the biggest fangasm of seeing Lee again. I'm just throwing that out still. And I felt so happy that we could see him again, but I feel like it was that spiritual or mental feeling that you could see Lee again, and that's where she wanted. That was her safe zone. That she was near Lee, and as long as she's with him, she will feel safe. And then when you think about it, and I stated this before in my Let's Play, Hark and maybe David, you've both heard me say this in my Let's Play. I decide my decisions like putting myself in that scenario as a little kid. And when I think about it, I say, yeah, I definitely did feel safe. Even when I was the gamer, I felt safe being around Lee. I know he just has this aura around him. Yeah. And I actually didn't say, don't leave me. I actually asked him to say, everything's going to be okay.
Yeah, me too. That was heartbreaking as well, so...
That's not heartbreaking.
What I really loved about that scene, too, is that it really got me feeling the role reversal, because throughout season 1 I was playing as Lee, and Clementine was someone that I had to protect. Out of all costs, I needed to protect this little girl, whereas in this episode you are the one that's being protected, and you are the one that's being comforted, and you are the one who's vulnerable and needs someone to tell her everything's going to be okay. And it was just really cool to just be on the other side of that fence. I ended up telling Lee that I wanted him to say to me that I would never have to hurt anyone. And that actually foreshadows what I ultimately do at the end of this episode.
I think I said that.
Foreshadows that.
Either I said everything's going to be okay, or I don't want to ever hurt anyone. I know I said one of those two, because they were good decisions in my view. Because when I looked at the overall story, and hear me out on this, I feel like when you looked at that scenario, you couldn't say don't leave me, because we know we're in like a dreamlike state, so Logan could be pushed to the side on this one. But Yeah, there we go, Logan. Just go.
Logan, you're being pushed in the wrong direction. He was pushing you the other way.
Sorry.
You need to go the other way.
Go that way, Logan.
There you go, that way, Logan.
But I really felt like we couldn't stay there forever, and I don't know if I noticed this.
Logan,
I know you. Get back here, Logan. I need your insight on this.
We're moving you back. Okay, there you go.
But Hark, you're good on story depth with me on this. I don't know if you noticed it. Did you notice that all the characters in the RV were sleeping except for Kenny and Lee? And I'm thinking, well, those are the characters who died.
That's interesting. That is interesting. Yeah.
Like when you look at it, I mean, I can understand if it's like at 1 a.m. in the morning and everybody's tired and sleeping.
I think Ben was still awake though. I think Ben was still.
No, he was like.
Maybe,
that.
To be fair, pretty much everyone in that RV ends up dead by the end of season 1. So.
Not
almost.
Kenny.
Not
Well,
Apparently
Kenny's one driving. He shouldn't be asleep.
Somehow Kenny survived.
Yeah.
Because he's the one driving.
Yeah.
Because I said so.
Because you said so. His mustache was too great to die. That season.
And with the ending of that scene, when she falls asleep, you see the eyes slowly closing, and she gets that smile on her face, and it cuts to black. I would have been happy if it ended there. You know, like this super bittersweet ending, like she died in her happy place.
Yeah, I thought it was gonna end there too.
Yeah.
You were ready to cut it off. I'm well now, and oh wait, it's not over yet.
Yeah. I was ready for it to possibly end there, and then I was like, oh good, we actually didn't die. Okay, good.
Thank goodness we didn't die. I mean, that'd be a terrible thing. But when we wake up, I thought that was when shit just got real.
Oh yeah.
Yep.
And this is where it can be the me and Kathleen moment fighting over Jane.
Yeah, we've been waiting to fight.
You know, like.
Which actually, that's the part that I'm still if they ever wanted to leave anything open for season 3, that would be it. Because I still don't fully know what happened while we were out. If they shot anyone, if they killed anyone, if we just grabbed the truck and ran.
I don't know if they grabbed any supplies. Did they ever hint at
I don't think they did.
They claimed that Mike and Bonnie ran away. They claimed that they left.
Yeah, and I'm pretty sure Arvo with them. But I'm just thinking, wait a minute. If they got all the food and supplies, how the heck are we gonna survive? And that was what at first.
Eat the baby.
Oh god.
It's the only way.
Oh god.
Oh, I've been waiting for this moment.
Survival
I've been waiting for
Dark
this moment.
joke.
Yeah.
Oh god.
Sorry.
But when they were driving, and I guess you could say it turned into a minor argument at first, and then it turned into a big argument. I think they were still worried about Kenny, and then you're like, what happened to me? You got shot. I didn't expect it to be Mike of all people. It was
the biggest.
I guess the biggest shock to Kenny was that Mike betrayed him, the black guy and the traitor.
The biggest way I would wrap up that whole scene in one word is frustration, and it was definitely shown in David's playthrough. Watching him listen to their banter back and forth, how frustrated he was at. It's like, no, stop it! You were really
I'm getting annoyed
bothered
that
by it.
you are arguing like little children. Shut up.
Yeah, they were both really bad. I mean, I guess talk about it, not become frustrated, because I expected more of Jane.
Yeah.
And I expected more of Kenny, but they just become this little children bickering back and forth. It's like this juvenile things. I spot an asshole, but really?
Yeah.
That's
so
how you want to do this?
So Kenny disappointing Kathleen, Jane ended up disappointing you. So yeah.
They both disappointed me during that scene. I felt the same way, David. I was like, oh my god, they're kids, they're children, and here Clem is shot and just bleeding, and they're arguing about the stupidest things.
Really?
It's like, can we try to treat her wounds? Can we, like, whatever? But whatever.
I thought her wound closed up because, like, they said they had to turn the heater on and everything.
Oh, okay.
And it did, but because of them, it opened up again later. But anyway.
Oh, yeah.
Because of them, it opened up. So.
I would say that it was a very touching thing to see Jane holding the baby. Just because seeing how
She was, that's right.
How non whatever the word is, like she just was not really receptive to it earlier, but now she was just biting down and just holding it. I just thought that was nice that she didn't just lump her in the back seat with Clem.
Yeah.
And I actually am going to mention two things. First off, I didn't like how they were completely arguing each other, but I do have to say that it would have been like me and Kathleen fighting over a Jane action figure toy right now. We'd be like, it's mine, it's mine, it's mine, it's mine. It could happen one day, but it could happen one day. but the second thing I got
that'll be in the bonus video, by the way.
Yeah.
The bonus cut, the director's cut.
Yeah.
Give me that now.
Fist fighting over it.
And then Hawk has to decide, okay, who am I gonna shoot, Carson or do I have to let Kathleen go? Oh, what do I do? But the second thing I do want to point out is I don't know. I kind of sided with Kenny on sometimes, and then I sided with Jane, and then I was like, okay, I'm in the middle. But what I didn't like was this little Jane snarky look, where she was like, like pulling up her lip up all the time. Mm-hmm. It got a little annoying to me. Like she's, I guess the word would be stuck up.
Yeah.
Sexy?
Not sexy, David.
Okay,
not
sorry.
Sexy.
My bad. All right.
I just got.
Go ahead.
I just got fed up at them both, and ultimately that is what dictated my final choice, or not my final choice, the second to the last choice of this episode. But we're gonna get to that very soon. So.
Yeah, for sure. And then they.
Now I can hear it. Sorry.
And they, for some reason, there's a roadblock heading
just
towards.
a lot of cars, just normal.
They're still debating the same plans. Like there's like, we're going to Wellington. We gotta go back to what was it called again? Carvertown, or what was it?
How is the name of the
House
is the name of the store, the whatever that shop.
Yeah, the house store. But we're still calling it Carvertown.
Carvertown, yes.
And yes, as Kenny steps out, I'm like, no, we're not leaving him.
Yeah.
She didn't even have to say it. Like, nope. We're staying.
We're staying, yeah.
Yeah, I guess I wouldn't say I was shocked, because I know that, like I said this earlier, that I felt like Jane was sowing dissent between Clementine and Kenny. I felt like she was trying to still leave Kenny and take Clem and let Kenny be on his own forever. I don't really think she cared about the baby either way. And it was that... I'm trying to put this in words. It's hard to describe. It's just that she wanted just to get away from him, just like the other two guys were. We're done with them. Let's get out of here.
Yeah.
We want to be free. Well, this is your chance. I was like, aren't I already free to make my own choice?
Yeah.
I think. So then we have the scene felt tense a bit for me.
I laughed at that scene when the zombies came out, and they were not frozen, of course.
No, but they were very slow walking, but just because it was very quiet, and you just hear the little strings in the music just picking up as you're just walking out. I actually, for a second, I was like really like jumping back to like old Sierra games and stuff of what if I'm supposed to walk in a particular direction or know where I'm supposed to be going, because I was
I thought you were talking about the car scene with Jane saying, drive!
No,
I don't know how to drive!
Yeah.
That made me laugh.
I agree, Logan, that I liked how they did that scene with the blizzard and the snow and just having zero.
I felt lost. I was like, where the heck?
Zero visibility. You felt isolated, and you didn't know if you were going to ever find Kenny or Jane again. So I was wondering, like, oh my gosh, this is it. Like, this is how we're going to end the
draw
episode.
Full circle back to. Yeah.
It's just going to be this big cliffhanger, and Clementine's just going to be all by herself again. So. But
that to me, I felt was very necessary. That specific scene was necessary, only on the basis because we need to show that we don't know which way we're going. We could be walking in a big circle for all we know, and when we look at the way Clementine's life has been around as of right now, it is kind of a big circle. She loses a group, then she goes into finds another group, then she goes right back to losing another group, and she's truly by herself. And wherever she's going, it's going to be the same way, possibly. I thought that's how I interpreted it.
Let me just say though that even with zero visibility in a blizzard, Clementine's still an extremely accurate shot. Because if you decide to go up to one of those zombies and shoot it, bam, done. Like
you can shoot.
you can shoot the zombies if you want, and she's 100% accurate in even zero visibility.
Will that affect later on, like as far as like how much ammo you have in the gun?
I doubt it. I seriously doubt it.
Okay, but more on that thing later. But okay,
so
I just didn't even bother with the zombies. I was like,
yeah,
I was afraid if I got too close to them, they would like attack me. Like
I didn't either. I didn't bother with them.
Yeah,
I want to ask Kathleen.
Go ahead.
What did she think of that blizzard scene, like in her version of interpretation? Because I've already stated mine. I mean, I thought that scene was very necessary.
I mean, it was just a visual expression of the turmoil that was already going on between Kenny and Jane. Like, it was very, metaphorical. Like, not to be over analytical. I mean, it was very, there was just,
it was a raging storm.
It was a raging storm and very dangerous. And I feel like that's already how I felt before the zombies, approached on scene. Like, it was like, okay, this is already really chaotic, and this is just adding to the chaos.
Yeah. You didn't know which direction to go, just like you don't know where to go, Wellington or House, or it was very good analogy.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, oh, it's a storm.
And that's the right answer. So
that's the right
answer.
So
I'm not as deep as you guys. Sorry.
Let's go ahead and move on to the big thing, the big choice,
the rest
area. You see Kenny. Jane has that talk with. Jane doesn't have AJ with her. Kenny leaves. Jane tells Clementine, no matter what happens, just stay out of it and just trust me.
I already knew.
Yeah.
I know some people for the duration of this sequence, they would probably get madder because they thought she did do something wrong with the child. Spoilers to them, but I, through the bulk of it, knew that probably nothing was wrong. I was mad at her. I was like, "Are you insane? You know what he's going to do, and you're going to bring it upon yourself willingly?"
Oh, I knew she was up to something.
I agree with Logan on this. And I know like Hark is big on story depth and character development, but like when I saw her emotions go like and then Kenny leaves, she goes, whoosh, okay, listen to me. I was like, wait, there's a big emotion flip right there. What the hell happened? Are you hiding something from me? I started to suspect her, and I was like, there's something suspicious with her already, and I feel like she's going to try and do something. And when I see Kenny coming, like, angry face, all pissed, I was like, oh, shit, I know what's happening.
Kathleen, go
I'll
ahead.
just Kathleen.
I disagree. At first, I thought that she had just made a mistake, that something had happened to the baby, and that that it wasn't her fault. And then later I was like, oh, okay, I think she just hid the child. But either way, I don't think it matters, because I think that Kenny was at fault anyways. Like, I don't know. I know a lot of people disagree with me on this, but
and you love Kenny, and you're a Kenny fan.
I've commented on your channel about that too.
Yeah, I know. I love Kenny, but that gives him no excuse to try to murder someone for a mistake. Even if it was a lie, it would have been a mistake, and it was murder. So like, he was trying to murder Jane, and that was how I saw it.
And I believe it's because to him, she thought that it was intentionally done. He thought that she left him and just saying, because of course Kenny's stubborn. Once he gets a thought in his mind, it's very difficult to get him off of that thought. That in his mind, he didn't think it was an accident. He thought that she just did it to save her own skin. So I guess then putting yourself in that position, then Kathleen, if it was a child, a baby that you were entrusted with, or that you were wanting to take care of as your own, and then you just learned that someone, and you had the thought in your mind that they did it intentionally just to save their own skin, they sacrificed your child for you, what would your emotions be like at that point in time amidst all the other chaos?
I would be devastated, but I wouldn't be murderous. You know what I'm saying? Like,
so
I would be like, okay, I still think that it was a mistake. you know, and if I was Kenny, I would have just assumed it was a mistake. But the first thing I would have done would just be devastated. I'd probably just seep into a depression. I wouldn't really react by being anger.
I want to jump into this.
Which of that? Okay, you go first, then I'll go in.
Yeah, I was gonna say, is it a mistake to try and antagonize Kenny, or is it a mistake of what?
No, I think like from Kenny's perspective, if something happened with the baby, and I just can't see Jane like
doing that,
being like, oh, okay, here's a baby, zombies, I'm gone, eat this baby, so I'm good.
That's why I know.
Yeah.
That
would be a lot of character.
I agree very much with Kathleen on this one.
It's a split here.
I think.
Go ahead, David.
Yeah. Sorry.
First of all, they start fighting, and she actually tells him that it was an accident, but he starts listening.
Yeah.
It's like this narrow-minded and if he's willing to kill someone over this, just like Kathleen is saying, and she's like saying it's an accident. I mean, he's a very dangerous person, and that's the point she's trying to prove, actually. And I got that really quickly when she like knelt down and said, "Just don't do anything." And I said, "Okay, she's proving a point here."
Mm-hmm.
And which I just thought I just thought there could have been maybe a better way than getting herself. I was mad that she was willing to almost literally sacrifice herself to Clementine to prove this, because I didn't want her to die. I thought it was a stupid way of
and she's willing to sacrifice herself to prove a point, kinda.
Yeah. I absolutely agree
because
with Logan on this.
if it doesn't happen now, it might happen later.
And I'm just gonna say, is just we can have this put over, is if Kathleen's saying that she was there with Kenny. I guess the only thing with her with saying that you would probably go into a depression, whereas I think at that point it's just how different people deal with grief or deal with sorrow. Kenny is very clearly someone who deals with it very aggressively and explodes at any nearby people.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't think we could say, oh, if I was Kenny, because I don't react like Kenny. Kenny is his own personality, his own character type. I could say if I was in that position, but I can't say if I was Kenny, because then I would behave like Kenny would.
Yeah, I very much understand why he acted like he did, and I expected him to act just like the way he did.
Yeah.
I was still extremely disappointed, like when we get to the end result of what happened, why Jane was doing this, because when I knew there was something suspicious and I saw Kenny coming in all anger, I really immediately started to get suspicious of Jane. Like, are you trying to antagonize him? I mean, you already were saying bad stuff about him behind his back, and I feel like you're not. I don't know if I could trust you if you're just trying to cut me off from somebody I really care about and look after. I mean, this wasn't really necessary. I mean, she didn't have to try and prove a point. I already knew the point.
Yeah.
I already knew this if you look back in, like, previous episodes and season, and the first season. It was no point to be needed, but apparently to her, it had to be proven. I was like, you clearly are insane.
Yeah. No, I was going to say, on a personal note, if the whole lesson she was trying to teach us was Kenny can be violent if angry, I could be like, where have you been this entire season?
Exactly.
You think this is something new?
Yeah, exactly.
To me, that Kenny can be violent when angry? I know Kenny could kill. Kenny has almost killed people.
And you've watched
before.
him. You've watched him.
I've watched him kill someone. You're treating this as if this is not a lesson I need to learn again.
I think. See, for me,
for that reason, I side with Logan, because I know that Kenny is capable. And in my example I used, I said it was the Ben scenario, that when Ben confesses, like, he was the one that was giving the drugs, and then Kenny finds out, wait, that's how my family died. He snapped and wanted to kill Ben right there. And I was like, you don't need to prove a point. I saw that already.
Kathleen, go ahead.
See, with me, I always, like, I love Kenny is such an interesting character, because for me, I've always felt this, like, tense feeling of, like, wanting to like him, but always kind of fearing how much jeopardy he puts the group in because of his, irrational decisions and his anger.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's why he's such a great character, because, like, he just kind of makes you want to, like, root for him, but he always makes these decisions that are just so irrational.
Yeah.
And, like, for me, in this episode, I felt like he this was the last straw for me. Like, and the whole, and I think a lot of people are still rooting for him, because, you know, a lot of people didn't like the decision that I
I'll be
made.
right back.
Okay, but like, I feel like just the whole like scenario that played out between him and Jane kind of proved to me that he wasn't redeemable. Like, he wasn't going to learn from his mistakes, that he was just going to keep going downwards and making worse and worse mistakes, and possibly even putting Clementine in danger. So, I mean, that's how I interpreted it, but that's just my interpretation. But like, for me, it just broke my heart. Like, this episode just broke my heart, and I just wanted to think more of Jane, but more of Kenny, because we've been with him for so long.
Yeah.
And I just feel like, I don't know, like you said, Hark, I just feel disappointed, you know? But
And I think we can all agree that Kenny would never hurt Clementine in any way.
He has.
Never.
No,
At
he
least
hurt
not
me.
intentionally.
But it's not
Physically.
He
intentional.
has?
Yes, he
But his
physically hurt me.
impulsiveness,
My
his
Clementine did.
impulsiveness and all of that could hurt Clementine, himself, and everyone around him.
If they just keep pushing away people
Wait.
that could help them.
Wait, remind me again. I'm pretty sure, Hawk, it was your episode that when Kenny was in the truck with you, like the one that he fixed, he was saying that he wished Lee was here, and Lee went across half the state to look for you. I think you said, "I wish he hadn't," and Kenny said, "I wish I should slap you for saying that."
What?
I think
don't remember.
I know what you're saying.
Oh, yeah, he did.
I don't know if Angel said it, but I know he did it for my Let's Play.
Yes.
My Let's Play is I said in a pity, like, I wish he hadn't got me. He's like, I should slap you.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I thought you was it you
did threaten to
I
slap
don't think I
him.
remember that on mine. Yeah.
Okay.
But it was just to prove a point of how, I guess, to that moment, Kenny saw Clementine as almost seeming ungrateful for what Lee did and gone through to help her, and Kenny wanted her to know that she should survive, that she should live for Lee's sake, to make it seem as if Lee accomplished that much for keeping her alive.
Yeah.
And it's so interesting because I feel I've said this before, but Kenny is my only link to Lee.
Yeah.
Yes.
And I started looking back on season 1 and thinking, did I actually like Kenny?
Yeah.
Or is it just nostalgia talking? Because that can only take you so far until you start like.
I didn't like him until the last 2 episodes of season 1. I didn't like him at all.
Yeah.
Until the
I
last
remember that. Yeah.
God,
I remember.
heartless.
Wait, what are you talking about? No, she mentioned this in the season 1 podcast. I remember that.
I mean, I did end up liking Kenny in the last 2 episodes, or the last episode of The Walking Dead, and before that, I didn't like him. So.
For me, my biggest problem with this scene was it just seemed so out of character for Jane. Someone who I think was smart enough to know what she needed to do to be able to survive up to that point, having her think that instigating Kenny in that way was a good idea, I didn't buy it. For me, it was jarring in that I don't think Jane would have actually done that. At least I didn't believe she would have.
I completely agree with you, Hawk.
It just seemed like Telltale, the writer. I mean, the rest of the episode was great for this specific writer, but it just seemed a little off to me, and I just wasn't buying it. And I think that here the writer just wanted like this. They wanted this plot to go in this specific direction, and therefore they had to make Jane behave a certain way or think a certain way, and even to this day, that still bothers me.
I'm actually disagreeing with that because we have seen this very slowly, this rivalry between Kenny and Jane, growing through 2 episodes. So one episode, not this episode, and it's escalating all the time, like discussions, calm discussions, and. Then in the car with things heating up, even before that starts heating up, and then bam, they have had this really horrible argument.
Yeah.
And then she's just like, no, something has to be done, and I think she's capable of. My personal opinion is that she's very much capable to do things like this.
So you think
to protect the ones she likes?
But doing it legitimately, not just hiding the baby, but actually, if her story was true.
No, I don't think she would ever hurt the baby intentionally.
Yeah.
No.
You're saying that there was an ulterior motive. It wasn't just to show Clem something. It was she wanted to get rid of Kenny. She wanted to get rid of Kenny for Clem's sake.
Yeah, they have a bigger chance of survival.
Gotcha. Okay. Because then, actually, you got a point. If she just ran off, if Kenny ended up looking for AJ and Clementine and Jane made a run for it, then Kenny would have gone into Carver mode because he needs his family back. So he's going to go after Clementine at least because he wants to get his family back, and he would just have the parallels between him and Carver this episode is just amazing. I think.
Yeah.
Actually, I'm gonna take back what I said because I think I misunderstood you. I don't think she intended to kill Kenny.
Okay.
Sorry.
No.
Okay.
I think she intended to at least damage the bond that Clementine and Kenny potentially.
Yes.
Oh yes.
Yes, definitely.
So.
I figured that out the moment I saw it when she kept talking about him behind the back.
She wanted Clem to officially want nothing to do with Kenny anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Even if it meant her almost dying, which for some of us here she did.
And the irony is, the way I've been role-playing my Clementine, she really wasn't that attached to Kenny. Like, she liked Kenny, and she didn't want anything bad to happen to him. But my Clementine was definitely more attached to Jane than Kenny. And, again, ironically, what ends up happening is what ends up happening with me.
Yeah, but before I ask that, I want to ask Logan, did you not ever get, hints, when you ever talk to Jane and she looks at Kenny and then talks about him, do you ever got hints that she was trying to sow dissent between you two?
No. From the very beginning of this episode and in parts of season 4, I think she just
Season 4?
Not season 4, episode 4.
Mm-hmm.
I think she was trying to sow seeds of dissent. I think she's wanting to do that with everyone.
Yeah.
I think in her, not saying it was like a twisted perspective or something, but I think in her mind, the best case scenario would be just her and Clem.
Yeah.
No one else, because she couldn't trust anyone else. She couldn't rely on other people like she felt she could rely on Clem.
Right.
Which, in a sense, that's what I gave her at the end. But moving on.
Yeah, but I still felt the sense she was trying to set, and I didn't like it at all. You can talk bad. I think we're all like that. You can talk bad to behind someone. I mean, you can talk bad to someone in front of their face, but don't do it behind their back. And I didn't like that at all. And I started to go a little distasteful for her, but I still liked her because she is badass, and I still want to steal her from David and Kathleen.
Yes, go on. Yes.
But the more she kept doing it, the more I started to dislike her, and she kept doing it and kept saying, "Don't you ever want to be free?" And I'm thinking, well, I'm already free, living my own world.
Now,
go ahead.
For the duration of this fight, I guess since it's a lot of random choices and amidst the chaos, during the fight, were you guys trying to be more passive and spectated, or more trying to get involved and stop it?
I tried to get involved and stopped it because I didn't want them to kill each other. I mean, I loved them both, no matter what. But I didn't, and I don't think they should have brutalized themselves.
Yeah, I agree totally. That's what I did as well. Stop fighting, you dumb.
I remember
you were like this. You were like, stop fighting, stop being stupid. I mean, I love you both. Stop killing each other.
I remember I was getting between them all, trying to do whatever I could.
I was complete opposite from Logan.
What?
I was complete opposite from Logan in that I wanted nothing to do with the fight. I kept myself completely out of it from beginning to end because I was, as I said earlier, I was fed up. I was just fed up and tired of their shenanigans. And,
oh man, I thought I was gonna get to hear you cut.
tired of their shenanigans. And people.
We almost got him.
People complained when they saw what I decided to do, because ultimately I just did nothing. And when the big choice popped up on whether or not I would shoot Kenny or look away, I just let time run out. And it says, I'm not making a decision. And granted, by not acting, I ended up, indirectly causing a murder to happen, causing Jane's murder to happen. But I just was, again, I like to coin the term, just let the adults take care of this. And some people were upset when I used that term because they're like, it was like, okay, Clementine has shown that she's not just a little kid, like she's got the maturity of an adult. It says, yes, I agree with you. That's not what I meant by letting.
It's more
adults...
like let the kids take.
Yeah, let the kids. That's
probably
what I
like
should have
kids.
said. Let the kids figure it out because I'm tired of breaking them up. I didn't want to intervene because I had, what they're gonna do is what they're gonna do, and even if no matter what choice I make, even if the choice is do nothing, somebody's gonna end up dead. There was no. Yeah. They were forcing. I was sick and tired that once again they were forcing me in a decision where I had to make a choice between letting this person die versus letting this person die. And I was like, I would much prefer being indirectly the cause of someone's death than directly the cause of someone's death by actually shooting Kenny. And which is ironic because everybody under the sun thought that I was going to shoot Kenny and be with Jane since they knew my feelings of Kenny. But it again, I was staying true to what I said earlier in Clementine's dream was just tell me I don't have to hurt anyone. And I didn't hurt anyone. I stayed true to that.
You just let them hurt, yeah.
I just let them hurt each other because they brought it up. Jane and Kenny brought it on themselves. I'm sorry to say that, but they did. And
remember Lee's answer to that question. Sometimes it's not that easy. Sometimes
it wasn't easy. Oh, it was not easy.
It never is. It never is.
It never is easy.
Yeah.
I hated that decision, and yeah, it wasn't easy at all. But yeah,